Welcome to Unicorns Talk Podcast, your weekly girl talk about Black women, our healing, and manifestation. My name is Latrice Sampson Richards, your life enhancement coach, and together we're going to live, laugh, and learn to love all of life's little messes. While I am a licensed clinician, please keep in mind that this show is not a substitute for your own relationship with a mental health provider. Let's go. Hey, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in to episode 40 of Unicorns Talk Podcast. The title of today's show is The Art of Letting Go, and it is my first solo show of season 2, so that's really exciting. My name is Latrice Sampson Richards, and I am super happy to be here with y'all today. This has been a super crazy week. It's been a really, really crazy week, but it's also been full of some high highs, some really high highs. And so what happened this week? This week I was a guest on the Facebook show Tea Time with Bria, which I love. Bria, hey girl, hey. And we talked about managing the emotional ups and downs of entrepreneurship. It really was a great conversation. I was watching it again last night before I started recording today. So you should check it out. If you haven't, it's not too late to check it out. Just head on over to my Facebook page and you can see the link where I shared it to the page there, and you can check that out. Also, today is a really big day for me because tickets go on sale for a Life Empowered tour. Finally, right? Finally. The tickets go on sale for a Life Empowered tour, and I'm super excited about that. A Life Empowered tour is a group intensive tour that I'm doing for women who are ready to change, but they're not sure where to start. So you feel stuck, you feel like you're in a rut, and you know it's time to get to your next phase of life, but you're really struggling to figure out how to make that happen. Well, this is for you. So during this 3-hour event, you're going to gain a deeper understanding of who you are, where you are, and where you are going. All right. We are really going to dig in to make sure that you come out of this experience with a renewed sense of purpose. I want you to have a clear plan for how you're going to get yourself unstuck. All right. And so the tour is going to be making stops in Fort Lauderdale, New Orleans, Atlanta, and Dallas. And there's only going to be 10 spots available for each stop. So do not wait to get your tickets, girl. You can use the code EARLYBIRD in all caps, one word, to get $50 off your ticket price for a limited time. And let me tell you, it is never, ever, 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 ever again going to be this cheap to attend one of my group intensives. So don't think because the price is low that there's no value there. The only reason that the price is low for this first tour is because it's my first tour and I just want y'all to come or whatever. I'm trying to give you the most benefit that I can. I don't want you to have any reason or excuse to not come and get this help. But I'm telling you, girl, don't wait. As if your money looking funny already, you know what I'm saying? It's never going to be this cheap to attend a group intensive that I put on ever again. So you want to take advantage of this opportunity. If you know that you need this help, if you know that this event was put together specifically for you, go on and collect your coins and get your ticket. Because like I said, there's only 10 spots available. All right. So if you're in a place in your life where you know that there's something more for you, but you have no idea how you're going to access it, you're struggling to heal from your past so you can build the future that you deserve, then head on over to my website, latricesampsonrichards.com/a life empowered. That's EMPOWHERED to get your tickets now. You will not regret it. And also, I'm going to put the link in the show notes as well as in my Instagram bio so you can check it all out there as well. Okay. If you haven't already, please make sure that you rate, comment, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts or anywhere that you're listening to the show right now. Y'all know I love it when y'all let me know that y'all listening, but y'all don't be talking to me. I know y'all listening because I see the numbers, okay? So I know that y'all are listening. I want y'all to talk to me. I want y'all to communicate with me. This is a conversation, and I want y'all to participate in this conversation. So make sure that you take a screenshot when you're listening, post it on your stories, tag me in your stories, either tag the podcast, Unicorns Talk Pod, or you can tag me directly at Latrice Sampson Richards and let me know that you're listening. Shout out to Jaden Hollywood. He always lets me know that he's listening. Shout out to Nina. She lets me know that she's listening. I know that y'all are out there. I know that y'all listening. Come on out of the woodworks, girl. You need to go on and interact with me or whatever and let me know that you're listening, okay? All right. Also, y'all make sure you check out Might Be Vegan. A lot of y'all tuned in to last week's episode. I got some good feedback actually about last week's episode with Kimberly Barnes of Might Be Vegan Meal Planning Service. Kimberly is awesome and amazing. I am going to be making more of her recipes. I wanted to do a recipe this week, but girl, listen, it's been crazy this week. But I am going to be doing some of her recipes, and I think I'm actually going to do a few of her recipes on IG Live as well. So y'all be on the lookout for that. Give them a try. The recipes are really good. It's only $25 a month, and you can use the code SUMMER to get 15% off your first month if you like it. And there's no contract or nothing like that. So check out the link in my bio for more information on how to get some vegan meal planning situation stuff going. All right. Okay, today's topic is the art of letting go. All week long, I've been talking about soul ties. Across all of my social media platforms, we've been talking about soul ties. And so many of us find ourselves trapped in negative soul ties. And a lot of times we don't even realize that we're trapped in these soul ties, okay? In my Facebook group, Trust Village, which if you're not a member of Trust Village, girl, what is you waiting on? I really don't understand. But in my Facebook group, Trust Village, we talk about how soul ties are really about so much more than just sex and love and demonic spirits, okay? Which, yes, I did just say demonic spirits, okay? I need you, let's take a side note for just a moment. It is disturbing how many times I saw the term demonic spirits when I Googled soul ties, okay? I think that it's important for us to have a real understanding of what soul ties are, and when you do a Google search, all that comes up is, what religion has to say about soul ties. And don't get me wrong, some of the information was good, concrete, valid information, but there was a vast majority of the information that's just business as usual, which is condemning people for being human, for exercising their free will. And that really bothers me. And so I wanted to make sure that we all understand what soul ties are, and in a real practical way, right? And because that's the only way for us to be able to prepare ourselves on how to handle them. So today we're going to be discussing the three steps to the art of letting go, specifically of negative soul ties. All right. So a lot of people get confused about what it really means to let go. We know that we need to let go of negative soul ties, but we don't really understand how to do that. And there's a lot of there's a lot of people out here that's just providing general information, and it's not always great information. So I wanted to give us 3 very specific practical steps that are involved in truly letting go of a soul tie, and they're not exactly what you think they might be. My goal is always to give you to leave you with some practical information that you can use in your everyday life. So today's steps are very, very practical. The 3 steps of letting go, make sure you have your notebook. Y'all know, don't turn on my show if you don't have your pen and your paper, your notebook and your pen. And when you come and see me perform live at a Pod Connection in Atlanta, Georgia on October 5th through 7th, then you'll have an opportunity to purchase your Unicorns Talk podcast journals and pens and t-shirts. So make that happen. That way you always have your journal when you listen to my show. You dig? Okay. Anyway, so make sure you have your pen and paper ready because we are about to take some notes, okay? So the 3 steps of letting go and cutting ties are choosing to let go, assessing where you currently are, and creating a plan to address your blocks and obstacles. Okay, step number 1 is choosing to let go. Step number 2 is assessing where you currently are. And step number 3 is creating a plan to address your blocks and obstacles. Okay? All right, let's start with step number 1, the decision to let go. So letting go is a decision that you make. It's not like a big moment. It's not like some fairy tale moment that happens. And what it's really not is closure, okay? Letting go, listen, we have this idea of what closure means, right? Like, main society tells us that we cannot let go until we experience closure, right? That for some reason, we have to have closure in order to really be able to let go and move on from a deep, intimate connection that we've had or that we've experienced and participated in our lives. But the reality is that you don't need closure in order to let go. All right? Closure is the act of letting go. I'm going to say that again. Closure is the act of letting go. But a lot of us don't see it that way. We get stuck in this negative emotional cycle because we feel like we need closure, right? I can't believe they did this to me. They can't get away with treating me like that, being this way to me, right? The least they could do is give me closure so I can move on. But the decision to move on is closure in and of itself. So you don't need anything further to know that it's over. It's done. It's final. Because at the end of the day, let's be real. That's what closure really is anyway, right? If we're gonna be all the way real about it, closure is, I just want to make sure, right? I just want to make sure they know they hurt me. I just want to make sure that they pay for what they did. I just want to make sure that they acknowledge my pain. That's what closure is. In our minds anyway, in the way that society sells it to us. All right? For some reason, we look to the person who has victimized us in order to validate our trauma. And as a result, we get locked into this holding pattern of shame, of hurt, guilt, embarrassment. We experience anger, hopelessness, helplessness, and it goes on and on and on. We give other people control over our own healing, and then we wonder why we can't seem to find peace. A soul tie is a deep and intimate experience. And so the art of letting go begins with the decision to choose your peace ahead of anybody else, ahead of anything else. There is beauty in releasing yourself from the responsibility of pain. Choosing to provide yourself with the closure that you need is the very first step in severing those ties and getting to your happy. You don't need nobody's you don't need nobody's approval or support to move on with your life. You don't need closure. Closure does not come from outside of you. You don't need closure from somebody else. You provide yourself with that closure by making the decision to let go. Okay, so that's step number one. Step number two, the second step, is assessing the reality of where you are currently. So a lot of times we are deeply, or like when we are deeply connected to another person spiritually and emotionally, we also are connected to them in other ways, in more tangible ways. So maybe we share a space with this person. Maybe we share bills with this person. We share a car with this person. We may be connected with children. We might be connected with other family members, other friends. We have the same social circles, things like that. Our finances might be intertwined. All right. If you are serious about letting go of this connection, then you have to consider all the ways in which you are connected to that person so that you can move on to the third step, which is creating a plan for how to manage those connections without getting sucked back in. All right. The key here is without getting sucked back in. Because some of those things you're not going to be able to sever. Like if you share kids with the person that you need to break a soul tie with, there's no such thing as avoiding that person. You will not be able to not interact with that person. And I know some of y'all listening right now like, girl, I don't talk to my baby daddy. Well, boo, that's a problem. That is a problem. Okay, I'm not gonna cheer you on for not talking to your baby daddy because y'all have a child together. You have to talk to that man. Okay, now what you talk to him about is a different thing. Okay, but that's another topic for another day, and we will get to that topic. All right, mark my words. We will get to that topic. All right. But some of those, tangible connections, you're not going to be able to sever. So you need to be able to create a plan on how you're going to manage those things so that you don't get sucked back into the emotional soul tie. All right. And listen, this is the hard part, right? Like not getting sucked back in. For those of you who are keeping up, we're on step number 3 now, okay? Not getting sucked back in. I've been there, girl. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt, moved on. Ain't trying to go back, right? Most of us struggle to let go of negative soul ties because we have no plan on how to not get sucked back in, right? Making a decision to let go, it's extremely important, but it is not sufficient. You have to consider not only the logistical side of letting go, like the finances, children, housing, transportation, etc., but you must also consider the emotional components as well, like loneliness, sadness, your sexual urges. Because listen, girl, it's real. It is real. It's really, really real. Okay? Boredom, anger, all of these things, right? So not just the tangible, but the emotional as well. You have to create a plan on how you're going to manage those things. What happens when it's 11 o'clock at night and I just want to be held? How do I manage that? What I'm going to do when I'm cleaning up the closet, doing some spring cleaning, and I find one of his shirts, his old shirts that never got washed, and it smells just like him, and that favorite cologne that he always used to wear. And it takes me back to that day when we went walking in the park and we had a picnic like the white people do on TV. Girl, what I'm supposed to do with that? How am I supposed to process that? How am I going to keep myself from calling him and saying, hey, I miss you? From maintaining that severing of that tie. Who is my support system? Who can I reach out to when I need to vent, or I need to cry, or I need to take my mind off it? Right? How will I maintain my decision to let go? Let me tell you, I was wrapped up in a really, really serious, significant soul tie in my life. My ex, before I met my husband, girl, that was a soul tie for real, for real. And it was a negative soul tie. We was only together about a year and a half. But when I tell you, it took me every bit of 6 to 6.5 years to move past that relationship. And that was actually the first time that I ever even heard the term soul ties before. A good friend of mine, we were talking or whatever, and a good friend of mine was like, girl, that's a soul tie. And I was like, girl, what is that? But at this point, I was like 6 years into it. And her explaining to me the reality of what soul ties are, and her really kickstarting my understanding on how to let go and how to move past a soul tie. She's the one that shout out to Ashanti. What's up, girl? Hey, mama, I need to call you. You know what I'm saying? Because she is the one that told me, you need to make the decision that you are done with this soul tie. You need to choose to let go of him and this situation. And as I feel like as duh as that is, right? The thought had never really even crossed my mind, because just because you let go of a relationship does not mean that you have severed the tie. All right. Just because you're no longer participating in the relationship officially does not mean that you have released the connection. And it's important for us to understand this for ourselves, right? Because if we are the one involved in the soul tie, then we need to give ourselves the time that we need to not just move on from the relationship and jump into another relationship before you're ready, but to also sever that soul tie appropriately, so that when you enter new relationships and new connections, you're not, holding things against you. You're not missing out on the opportunity to experience real love. Okay? To experience real connection. Now, the new person, the person that you end up with, that might not be a soulmate, a soul connection. Get over it, girl. A soul tie is not as common in terms of, like, you're not going to have a soul tie with every person that you meet. You're not going to have a soul tie with every person that you have sex with. You're not going to have a soul tie with every person that you fall in love with. That's just not the reality. That is a fairy tale that they're trying to teach us. And it's setting us up for failure. You can have a long, happy, genuinely sustainable and fulfilling marriage, relationship, partnership, whatever you choose to have, with a person that is not your soulmate. It happens every single day. So you out here looking for your one and only soulmate. But the reality is that it's not a requirement. You can have a deep emotional connection to somebody and not have a soul tie with them. And that is okay. It is. That is okay. But you cannot do that. You cannot prepare yourself for that, to really be able to experience that, to really be able to appreciate that, if you are still soul tie connected to another individual. You will always feel like something is missing. So before you move on to any type of new relationship, you have to make sure that you sever that tie. All right? And these are the steps to the art of letting go and severing that tie. It starts with the decision to do so, and then the acknowledgement of where you are currently and what all is involved in letting go on all levels. And then finally, creating a plan to sustain your decision. Okay? All right. So tomorrow, I'm going to be hosting a live private webinar on my YouTube page called Caught Up, soul ties versus emotional dependency. Because some of y'all running around here thinking that y'all are all caught up in these soul ties. In reality, it's emotional dependency, boo. And we need to get clear about the difference between the two. All right. So we're going to be discussing how to know if you are dealing with a genuine soul tie or if you are just caught up in emotional dependency. And I'm going to be teaching you how to apply my fact checking system, which we learned initially in module 5 of the Empower Your Vision Masterclass, which again, if you have not signed up for the masterclass, why? What you waiting on, God? Go on and make that happen. It's completely free, okay? And so my fact-checking system, it can be applied across multiple life areas. So I'm going to be talking about on the live webinar tomorrow, I'm going to be talking about, I'm going to be teaching you how to apply the fact-checking system to understand why you are struggling to let go, all right? So the link to register is going to be in the show notes, so make sure that you do that, okay? All right. Coming up next is High Five. All right, so I have 3 high fives for today. All right, so let's go ahead and get started because it's a lot. All right. So as you already know, I am a Delta. Yes, I am a devastating diva of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. I crossed at the University of Louisiana Lafayette on the Spring 04 line, Theta Xi chapter. Hey, sorors. And I love my line sisters. So this weekend, one of my line sisters graduated with her MBA. And at her graduation, her boyfriend and baby daddy, all right, surprised her with a proposal. She got engaged, y'all. And so that makes 3 of my line sisters who got engaged this year. And I want to say like within the last 3 to 4 months, like 3 of my line sisters have gotten engaged. And so next year is going to be a popping year for Theta Xi Spring 04. Plus it's our 15-year anniversary of, crossing those burning sands. And so, this just really got me to thinking about all of my line sisters and how just really awesome and amazing they are. I always wanted to be a Delta, and pledging was not easy at all, but it has definitely proven to be one of the most worthwhile investments that I've made in my life for sure. And so, my line sisters, listen, Theta Xi Spring 04, y'all already know, like, we the business for real. But like my line sisters are really like thebomb.com. We have 2 nurses. One of them just finished I think it's like a APRN program. I'm not very well versed in nursing. But we have 2 teachers. We have a doctor. I have another one of my line sisters that's in the last leg of her doctoral program. We are bosses and managers and wives and mothers and just all around like badass motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? And so high five to the 16 Cries of Confusion, because we have come a very long way, y'all. And I cannot wait to celebrate 15 years with y'all. I love y'all so very, very, very much. I want you all to know how much I love and appreciate you, just for always being there for me and always being supportive. And I just wanted to give y'all an extra special shout out or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I love my line sister, not my line sister. You know what I'm saying? They're going to understand that. Y'all not going to understand that, but they're going to understand that. So high five to the University of Louisiana Lafayette, Theta Xi chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, Spring 2004 line, 16 Cries of Confusion. I am number 11, in case you're wondering, Crimson Avalanche. And so, high five, Theta Xi Spring 04. Love y'all. The second high five for today it's a little different, you know what I'm saying? But it's a high five nonetheless. So I was introduced to a Sudanese grunge rap artist named Sinjin this weekend. I was catching up on just reading some articles and stuff like that on Blavity. blavity.com, which y'all know I love me some blavity.com. And so they did a piece on her that I think they adapted from a piece on Afropunk. And so she has a new song out called Flotus. And when I tell you, this song gave me all the life, okay? Like all of the life. First of all, the song itself is awesome and amazing, okay? The beat is like, it's a nice little vibe, you know? Like it has a Afro-futuristic feel to it, which is not typically a genre that I've been drawn to before, but I really, really like it on this song, you know? And the lyrics of the song are a tribute to melanin and, you know, and just overall high five in and of itself to the strong and powerful melanated queens that are leading the way and that are also providing an example for us of what it really means to be a bad bitch, right? So she recently did an interview with Afropunk, like I said before, and in that interview, she said, "I made Flotus as an homage to my hero Michelle Obama and all of the other Black female goats of our time and beforehand." Listen. The visuals for the video are beautiful. The meaning behind the song is beautiful. The artist herself, y'all, beautiful, dark, dark, dark chocolate skin. I mean, she is flawless, okay? She is out there. I love the nails, like just the whole 9 yards. You know, it's a little out there, you know, but listen, that's one of the things that I've always really loved about the Afrofuturism movement is that it's full of color and creativity and just the freedom to be as out there as you want to be. And I love every moment of it. All right. So high five to Sinjin and her new song Flotus for being hella creative and hella free and extra blackety black, which I love. I love it. I absolutely love it. I've posted a link for the video to the show notes, so make sure you check it out. I promise you will not be disappointed. All right. And then finally, the third and final high five for today, of course, is Insecure. Y'all know season 3 of Insecure started this weekend. Did you watch it yet, girl? I don't want to give any spoilers or whatever, but I'm about to. So if you have not watched it yet, then maybe you need to like pause me right now and you need to go back and watch it. And then you need to come back and finish listening to me after you watch it. Okay, so I'm going to give you a moment. Okay, so for those of you, if you still here, that means you already seen the episode because we about to talk about it. We about to really dig in, okay? So first of all, can we just take a moment to discuss how fucking awesome and amazing Issa Rae really is? Like, her hair is always on point, and I love how she really, like, we've seen this blossoming, right? Like, she has really stepped into her role as a force to be reckoned with in the industry. She is exactly what the culture needs right now in terms of giving us as Black women a voice, right? Like there's always been somebody else trying to tell our stories on our behalf, right? And sometimes they consult us, but usually they just make up whatever the fuck they believe life is like as a Black woman in America. And so we end up with, you know, these caricatures of Black womanhood that do not offer us any real connection to ourselves. And so Issa, you know, in my mind, she joins a very short list of Black women in Hollywood who have really taken the time to give us real representations of ourselves, which allows us to connect with her, and it allows us to connect with the show like really, really deeply because she represents the parts of us that nobody wants to acknowledge, you know, exist. We as Black women, we are all kinds of things, you know. Listen, I got about 4 personalities, you know what I'm saying? They all play well with each other, but they all up inside of me. Like, and don't be giving me the side eye because, bitch, you got 3 personalities too. You know what I'm saying? Like, we are many things to many different people. We fill a lot of different roles. Sometimes I'm real hood, and then sometimes I'm real sadistic. Diddy. Sometimes I'm real educated, and sometimes I have a serious blonde moment. You know what I'm saying? Like, all of those things are me. And so I love that she really puts on display the complexity of Black women. We're more than just Jezebels and mammies and loud, ignorant ass friends. I mean, we are those things, but we are more than just those things. And so I really appreciate that, that she gives us those representations. All right. So anyway, in the season 3 opener, we see Issa really coming to terms with her living situation with Daniel. So Daniel is doing the absolute most right now, and he is doing it on purpose. So many of us have experienced this in some way, right? And so this week we talk about soul ties. All this week we've been talking about soul ties. Well, I absolutely think that there is a soul tie between Issa and Daniel, which is why this living arrangement situation, this is not going to work out. All right. She's aware, like she knows that she needs to break this tie, and she has tried to break this tie in the past, but she was not prepared to do so, right? Because she didn't follow the steps. She ain't followed the steps. She has not assessed where she is. Currently, she's not created a plan in order to maintain the severing of that connection. But most importantly, she has not decided that she is going to break that tie, right? She's not chosen to break that tie. And so I foresee a whole lot of back and forth this season with these two characters, and I am definitely here for it. All right. Molly. Okay. Molly also finds herself in the middle of a soul tie, but she is so deep in denial that it's almost painful to watch because, girl, I have been there before, okay? Like, no, I have been there, okay? It is obvious that Molly has deep feelings for Dro, but she keeps trying to convince herself that she can participate in this relationship on any level as long as she has quote unquote boundaries. Okay. Now, this is the thing about boundaries. All right. The thing about boundaries is that they are based on your expectations. So if your expectations are flawed, then by default, your boundaries are flawed as well. This is why she struggles to enforce her no calls, no eating, nothing but sex boundary with him. Because that's not what she really wants. What she really wants is to be in a committed relationship with Dro, but he is not available to her in that way. And so instead of severing that soul tie, which is what she knows she needs to do, she's pretending that she can handle it by putting on a hard exterior, right? She's hiding behind the guise of boundaries. And this is going to boil over and it's going to hurt her. She is going to get hurt badly, all right? And let me just say this before we move on to our reality check for today. I don't fault Dro. I do not fault Dro because he has been completely honest with her from the very, very beginning. And he has not changed his story at all. No, he is not respecting her boundaries. I get that. But that's because she is not consistently enforcing them. You teach people how you want to be treated and how you want to be interacted with. When you are trying to establish boundaries with somebody, you have to be prepared to reinforce those boundaries a few times before you see consistent change. That's how this works. People are going to test your boundaries. That is what human beings do. All right. I want to be able to do what I want to do when I want to do it. I don't want any boundaries. So your boundaries are not beneficial to me because they prevent me from being able to do things the way I want to do. So of course I'm going to test your boundaries. I'm going to see what I can get away with. I'm going to see how much I can get away with. These are your boundaries, okay? And as such, you have the responsibility to secure them. All right. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how, the story continues to develop. My goal is to do a recap of every episode, every week. We're going to see how well I do with that. It might not be every week consecutively. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be as I get caught up on the episodes, because y'all know I be's doing other things. You know what I'm saying? But I am going to watch every episode. I just might not be able to watch every episode as they air. So just make sure you stay tuned. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm definitely going to give you the lowdown on each and every episode. All right. Okay. So let's move on to reality check. Well, I'm sorry. So high five to Insecure for being thebomb.com. High five to Insecure for coming back for season 3 and like bursting through the gate. Like y'all not playing for real, for real. And high five to Insecure for consistently giving us real life characters and allowing us to be able to see ourselves in those characters and to learn a few lessons along the way. All right. High five. Okay. So let's move on to today's reality check. Okay. R. Kelly. I had to take a deep breath before that. My honey bun over at Unapologetic Podcast, Jaden Hollywood, he tagged me in his post about R. Kelly and this new song that he released. Now, I had heard about the song, but I had not yet listened to it. And to be honest, I did not have any plans on listening to it. But when he tagged me and I listened to his viewpoints on the whole situation, and he was asking me like, am I right about this, or like, am I wrong? Because he was saying like, because R. Kelly has had his own trauma, and we have to take that into consideration and stuff like that. And so I had to go and listen to the thing. You know what I'm saying? Like I had to go and listen to the thing. And so now that I have listened to the thing, I have thoughts about the thing. Okay. So R. Kelly released a 19-minute song, and those thoughts are today's reality check, just so we're all on the same page. Okay. So R. Kelly released a 19-minute song called I Admit, and it was a hot ass mess, girl. Let me tell you. I mean, okay, it wasn't a complete mess, to be honest, because I can definitely empathize with some of the things that he talked about in the song, but the vast majority of the song was like straight up bullshit. It's kind of like when somebody says, I'm sorry you're upset, instead of actually apologizing for the thing that they did to make you upset to begin with. Right? It's like a fake ass, backward ass apology. It's not a real apology. He did not take responsibility for any of his actions. All I kept hearing was him blaming everything and everybody else on his actions, from the lawyer to not being able to read, which, side note, I do not believe that R. Kelly does not know how to read. Like, you don't get to be R. Kelly without knowing how to read. Okay. So I think that is a little bit of an exaggeration. Maybe he had dyslexia. It was difficult, but you know how to read. You know what I'm saying? He blamed his managers that fucked over him for being a sexual predator. Like they was just supposed to be okay with the fact that, he was a sexual predator. Like we supposed to have sympathy or like have empathy for him because his actions finally caught up with him. In the past, he blamed his story or like his history of drugs and past trauma. Now, let me say this. I absolutely believe in second chances. All right. I have literally built a career on the notion that people can change. This is what I do for a living. All right. But I'm also a very staunch advocate for owning your shit. And I often say to my students that acknowledging your past experiences as you embark upon your healing journey, that's not about providing yourself with an excuse to justify where you are. Okay? What it really is it serves as an explanation to help you understand how you got there so that you can create a targeted plan of action to confront and resolve those issues. So I'm not saying that his history of trauma is moot when it comes to the predatory behaviors, that he's engaged in and he's exhibited over the years. Research shows that individuals who were victimized in their youth have a higher likelihood of victimizing others in adulthood, right? However, that does not remove him from the responsibility of his actions. But I don't only fault him, though. All right. He talked about how the people in his inner circle turned their backs on him. But that's because their only job was to shield him from consequences. But everybody has a breaking point, right? And they finally reached theirs. He has never been made to suffer the consequences of his actions by his inner circle, and especially not by the general public or the Black community, and myself included. I have never purchased the R. Kelly album myself, but I have to admit that, in my mind, it was like I knew it and I understood that he was a garbage ass human being, but I never really assigned the reality of his actions to him. And so that has allowed me to keep enjoying his music, which, let's just be real, the man is a musical genius. Like he just is. He is a musical genius. Okay. So I never forced him to take responsibility for his actions in my mind on an individual level, which as a result lets him off the hook on a communal level. Because if enough of us are keeping a blind eye to his behavior, then it's not seen. We don't see it. And if we don't see it, then it can't be addressed. All right. So reality check. All right. Robert Sylvester Kelly, it is time for you to take ownership over the decisions that you have made in your adult life. That means that you need to seek the support of a really good therapist who can help you to resolve the effects of the trauma that you have experienced. All right. The trauma you experienced in your youth, and to accept the reality of how that trauma has contributed to your infliction of trauma upon other human beings. All right. That also means that you need to stand up and you need to truly admit your wrongdoings. Now, I'm not saying that you owe us an explanation or an apology as in like the general population, but for damn sure, there needs to be some level of public acknowledgement of how your choices and your behaviors have or may have impacted the community. Not just the image of our community, but the psyche of our community as well. All right. And furthermore, reality check Black community, specifically Black women. It is time for us to acknowledge our trauma as well so that we can stop allowing ourselves to turn a blind eye to the men in our community who inflict this trauma on us every single day. No, not all of our men are like R. Kelly. There's only a fraction of our men that are like R. Kelly, but it only takes one to fuck your whole world up. And we have to stop protecting him. Okay? That's your reality check for today. And that's all I got for the show today. All right. I want to give a few shout outs. Of course, a big shout out to Black Married Fly podcast. We're working on doing some things together, y'all, and I'm excited about it. Y'all going to love it. It's going to be awesome and amazing. Of course, shout out to Unapologetic podcast. Hey, Jaden. Hey, boo. Jaden always shows me love, and I cannot wait to see Jaden at a Pod Connection and hug him, wrap my arms around him, and spend some time with him and things like that. I'm really looking forward to that. Shout out to CMU Radio podcast. CMU Radio is clearly misunderstood radio. They are one of the shows that are going to be doing a live show at a Pod Connection right alongside me, and they are awesome and amazing. They are also from the state of Louisiana, and one of them is actually from the West Bank. Hey, they from New Orleans or whatever. I think New Orleans and Baton Rouge and then somewhere else, but they live in Baton Rouge. And so shout out to CMU Radio Podcast. I am definitely trying to get with them to do a few things or whatever. And so we're going to see about trying to make that happen. And then also shout out to just everybody who showed me love for my birthday. Once again, I mean, I'm still getting birthday wishes in. I had posted on my personal Facebook page a wish list for Amazon for things that I need to run my business, and like people have just really showed up and showed the fuck out, and I appreciate each and every one of y'all. I got an anonymous gift, and that y'all have no idea what that did for me. I mean, it helped my business because it was one of the most important pieces that of hardware that I had on my list, but it really helped me like spiritually, and in terms of just reminding me of why I do the work that I do, and making sure that I keep that at the forefront of my brain, and just the fact that you never know when somebody is listening, So yeah, shout out to my anonymous birthday gift sender. I really, really appreciate you for that. In terms of announcements, what do I have? Just a reminder that I am a Talkspace provider now. And so if you are interested in working with me as a counselor, and you live in the state of Louisiana, you can definitely sign up for Talkspace online therapy. I really enjoyed working with Talkspace. It's a really good, convenient opportunity for you to be able to gain the access to the healthcare that you need in terms of counseling services, without inconveniencing your life. It is online, it's chatting, it's talking, it's video, it's like, it's doing what you need to do the way that you need to do it. And so, I am very proud to be a Talkspace provider. And if you live in the state of Louisiana, you can go ahead and sign up for Talkspace, and you can ask for me by name. But even if you don't live in the state of Louisiana, still check out Talkspace because they have great, awesome, amazing therapists. And it never hurts. You know what I'm saying? Never hurt. Everybody can use somebody to talk to from time to time. I genuinely believe that. Okay, so y'all make sure you check out Talkspace Therapy for how you live. Of course, again, y'all know I'm going to be doing a live show, a live recording of Unicorns Talk Podcast. I've already started working on the episode. It's going to be bomb.com. I'm really excited about it, y'all. It's going to be at a Pod Connection ATL conference for podcasters, radio hosts, and bloggers. It's going to be held from October 5th through 7th, and it's all about empowering podcasters, which includes giving us a platform. And so I want an opportunity to be able to perform my show live along with 5 other awesome and amazing podcasts. And so go on and get your tickets. Like the general admission tickets are like $15, and you can use my special code Unicorns Talk, 2 words, all caps, to get $5 off. Make that happen. There's going to be actually a meet and greet on the 5th as well. And I'm going to have some merch available, some shirts. And again, like I said, those journals, because anytime you tune into this show, to all of my new listeners, you need to have a pen and a paper. Okay. This is the show that you listen to when you could sit down and you could pay attention, because there's always information that you're going to want to pull out of this and apply to your everyday life. Okay. All right, so you can get your tickets at apodconnectionatl.splashthat.com. Of course, the link is going to be in the show notes. And finally, my tour. I talked to y'all a little bit about it earlier. I just want to reiterate how awesome and amazing this tour is going to be. It's going to be really an evening of emotional healing and empowerment. And so we're going to be getting clarity about who you are, where you're going. We're going to eat. We're going to have a little drinky drink. You know what I'm saying? We're going to get to know each other. We're going to laugh. We're going to cry, and we're going to heal some things. And I am really looking forward to it. So make sure tickets go on sale today. Make sure you get your ticket. Use the code EARLYBIRD, one word, all caps, to get $50 off your ticket purchase for a limited time. And I just want to remind y'all again, if you trying to come see me for a small group intensive, if you want to work with me for real, and you want to, participate in one of my events, this is the first of many, many, many events and tours. Like, this is my vision. I talk to y'all all the time about creating a vision for yourself and creating your life. This is my vision. This is what I am doing with my life, and I'm serious about it. It is never, ever going to be this cheap to see me again. I'm just letting y'all know, okay? So go on and make that investment in yourself. You will not be disappointed. You're going to get food. You're going to get fellowship. You're going to get some healing. And you're going to get a little swag bag. I'm putting all of that stuff together. It's going down. Make sure you go ahead and get your ticket. There's only 10 spots available for each location: New Orleans, Atlanta, Fort Lauderdale, and Dallas. So make sure you make that happen, okay? All right. Follow me on all of the social medias. You can follow the podcast at Unicorns Talk Pod on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Check out the website at unicornstalkpod.com. And then you can also follow me personally, individually, at Latrice Sampson Richards on Facebook and Instagram, at L Sam Richards on Twitter. And I think that's it. Check me out, y'all. I love y'all, and I appreciate y'all. I genuinely appreciate y'all. Talk to me, yeah? I look forward to seeing y'all all up in the comments, all right? Until next time, people, be well. Bye.